During a high school graduation, a girl is singing while playing the guitar, and behind her, the class valedictorian named Dennis is staring blankly and lost in thought. He's remembering a moment with his friend, who told him that if he doesn't make a move, the girl he likes might never even notice he was there. His friend says Dennis should do something unforgettable, something that will leave a mark. He even suggests Dennis do it during his valedictory speech. Dennis gets called up to the stage to give his speech. It starts off awkwardly. He makes a joke that no one laughs at, except for his parents, which only makes things more uncomfortable. As he continues, Dennis says he has no regrets. Then, out of nowhere, he shocks everyone with a single line.
"I love you, Beth Cooper."
As he looks straight at her, he then talks about how long he's had feelings for her. In the crowd, we see Beth's boyfriend Kevin, a military school student, looking furious. Dennis doesn't stop there. He calls out other students in the audience, one girl dealing with an eating issue, another named Valley who's too into herself, and a guy named Greg who bullies others. He even points at Kevin, saying he can't seem to find a girlfriend his own age. Then he turns to his best friend Rich and says he's into guys. After the ceremony, Dennis steps outside and meets one of his teachers. She says she didn't expect him to do something that bold and warns him it might hurt his chances of getting into Stanford. Dennis tells her it mattered to him that Beth would remember who he was, and that's why he did it. Beth walks up to Dennis and says he embarrassed her, but it was kind of sweet. Then Rich comes over and tells Dennis that he's not actually into guys. Dennis then invites Beth to a party he's planning to host. Beth says she might stop by. Beth's boyfriend Kevin shows up and confronts Dennis, but their teacher steps in and puts an end to it. Rich once again tells Dennis that he's not into guys, but Dennis points out that everyone already assumes he is. Dennis has another flashback. This one strongly suggests that Rich might actually be into guys. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but Dennis thinks Rich should just be honest with himself. Dennis says he once had a girlfriend named Patty, while Rich has always stayed single. Dennis shows Rich the iPod he received as a gift, and Rich says his dad just sent him a bill instead. Rich later shows up at Dennis's house, proudly wearing a pair of new shoes he bought with 2 paychecks. Meanwhile, Dennis doesn't seem too excited. He's more focused on getting the party ready. His mom tells him not to get too wild, but his dad gives him the opposite advice, plus casually mentions where he keeps the condoms. Beth and her friends arrive at Dennis's house, and realize they're the first ones there. Dennis decides to offer the champagne, but struggles with the bottle and ends up cutting himself trying to open it. Rich tries to lighten the mood by pulling out the condoms Dennis's dad mentioned, but Dennis accidentally hits himself in the face with the cork. Beth grabs something cold from the freezer to help with Dennis's face. She sits on him while icing the injury, and Dennis perks up a little, which makes the girls laugh. Then the girls spot the condoms and start thinking about leaving. And, as if on cue, things get worse. Kevin and his buddies show up at Dennis's house. Dennis scrambles to lock up the place.
He's kinda cute.
But Kevin finds a way in through the back. Beth quickly realizes that Kevin is not sober. Kevin starts trashing the house and even throws the microwave at Dennis. Dennis and Rich run upstairs while Kevin chases after them. Rich hides in the closet and hands Dennis a toy lightsaber to defend himself. Kevin breaks down the door and notices a poster of Beth on Dennis's ceiling. He pulls the arms off a skeleton in the room and starts hitting Dennis with them. Meanwhile, Rich escapes through the window. Beth suddenly steps in and knocks Kevin out. Then she sees the poster of herself.
Oh, weird.
Kevin wakes up again and shoves Dennis off the roof. Rich and Dennis take off running down the road, right as Beth accidentally hits Dennis with her car. She tells them to hop in, and they drive off. Even though they are already out of danger, Beth continues to drive recklessly, which made Dennis realize that she is actually a terrible driver. Rich even remembers how bad she was back in driver's ed when she almost killed him and the instructor. Beth and Dennis stop at a gas station to buy some beer. The cashier asks for ID, so Beth hands over a fake one. He can easily tell that it's not her on the ID, so he refuses to sell them the beer. To change his mind, Beth offers to give him a kiss that he would never forget, and moments later, the two come out of the store with beers on their hands. Dennis looks disappointed. He starts realizing that the Beth he had built up in his mind isn't quite the person in front of him.
She's not Beth Cooper.
They head to the woods, where they drink a little. Dennis goes quiet. He tries opening a beer with his teeth, but ends up breaking his tooth and almost chokes on it. The song titled Beth starts playing on Dennis' iPod. He got embarrassed and tries to turn it off, but Beth tells him to let it play. She then gives her friends a look, telling them to leave her alone with Dennis. Now that they are alone, the two begin to talk and start opening up to each other. Meanwhile, Rich and Beth's friends stumble across a farm and try to test an urban legend about tipping over a cow. In the process, Rich steps into a giant pile of cow poop and accidentally causes a stampede. Beth tells Dennis she doesn't really have any plans for the future and doesn't seem too excited about anything. She later brings up Denny's disappointment at what she did at the store. Dennis explains that he meant she's actually much better than she gives herself credit for, and this touches Beth. The others return, and Beth tells Rich to leave his dirty shoes outside of her car. Once again, Beth shows just how bad her driving is as she crashes into a parked car by the side of the road. When everything comes to a stop, a couple steps out of the car, clearly interrupted from something private. Dennis suddenly realizes that they are his parents, so he tells Beth to get out of there quickly. They head to Valley Wooley's house, the same girl Dennis called full of herself during his speech. Inside, Dennis runs into Greg, who surprisingly opens up and gets a bit emotional. Dennis steps back outside and finds Rich. Together, they see their gym teacher acting way too friendly with some of the female students. Dennis then runs into his ex-girlfriend Patty, who tells him that Beth's boyfriend Kevin is actually at the party too, upstairs. Dennis and Rich try to sneak away with Beth and her friends, but it doesn't work. Kevin spots them. Turns out, he's been fooling around with Valley, which breaks Beth's heart. Kevin moves to pick a fight with Dennis, while Beth starts questioning everything. Kevin is about to beat Dennis to a pulp, but the gym teacher shows up just in time. He steps in, acting like a referee, saying the fight needs to be fair. Dennis tries to say sorry, but Kevin punches him anyway. Greg tries to jump in and help, but it's Beth who saves the day. She suddenly crashes Kevin's Hummer through the house and drives off with the group. With Beth's wild driving, they end up at the high school. There, Beth and her friends show Dennis the spots that bring back memories.
Mighty Bisons, oh yeah, let's fight!
Yeah!
Then, the girls decide to head to the showers, carefree and laughing. Dennis, no longer second-guessing himself, remembers his dad's advice to seize the day, so he decides to go join them. Beth smiles when she sees Dennis walk in. She tells him not to be shy, then drops her towel to really top things off. Her friends invite Dennis to join them. Just as Dennis is living the dream, Kevin suddenly shows up. Rich steps in to defend him, swinging a wet towel and hitting Kevin and his buddies, a skill he mastered all these years after he was bullied as a kid. Meanwhile, Dennis quickly leads the ladies to escape using Beth's car. After Rich wins the towel fight, he joins the rest, and they all drive to one of the girls' cabin. While driving, it comes out that Beth and her friends only went to Dennis's party because they thought it would be funny. That stings for Dennis, and his heart takes another hit. A while later, Beth tells Dennis that his shirt starts making the car smell bad, so she asks him to take it off so she can air it out a bit. However, while doing so, she accidentally drops the shirt. While she and Dennis go out to look for it, Beth asks why he confessed during graduation. Dennis explains that if he hadn't done it, he probably never would have gotten a chance to talk to her. Beth smiles and says she's glad that he did it. When they finally find his shirt, a wild raccoon appears and angrily drives them away. They finally reach Teresa's family cabin, and when they find a vodka, the group makes a toast for the new friendship they have made. Beth asks if anyone wants to watch the sunrise. Dennis volunteers, and the two share a quiet, honest moment together. Inside, Rich is making impressions of iconic movie scenes, and the girls enjoy it a lot. That leads to the girls deciding to show Rich some fun stuff, and they eventually have proven that Rich isn't gay. Outside, Beth tells Dennis he's destined to achieve all his dreams because he's smart, unlike her, who feels like she'll be stuck in an ordinary life. But Dennis calls that nonsense. To him, the Beth Cooper he's come to know is the most fascinating person he's ever met, and he's certain she's meant for something great. Beth smiles as she is moved by his words. Dennis leans in, and they finally share a passionate kiss. They all return to Dennis's house. His mom clearly doesn't approve of Beth, but his dad looks proud and happy for his son. Beth and Dennis wish each other well, and she kisses him once more. She hugs him and thanks him for loving her. Before she leaves, Dennis tells her that if she is still single at the reunion, he will marry her, and she says that's a promise. Beth drives off with her friends. After everything that happened, Rich finally confirms that he is gay, and Dennis is happy that he is finally honest to himself. Did you like our movie recap? Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. To be updated for new movie recaps, hit the notification bell.